What's going on, guys? My name is Triforce Addiction. Welcome back to another COD video. So today we're going to be discussing the CX9 and all the changes that were brought into Season 10 alongside it. So yes, last season we did receive this weapon. This is the newest SMG so far currently in this game as of recording this video. And it has received a lot of negative comments last season. But of course, with a change like this, a lot of people did think that this was going to be part of the meta now. People like Bobby Plays and so forth have said that it might be potentially meta as the season begins. And now that the season has officially been released for about 2 weeks at this point, I know it's kind of like a late video. I haven't really seen a lot of opinions on this change. They have said it's a lot better, but in terms of meta, I don't really think anyone has even said anything. And I'm not too certain that I saw this weapon in Ferg's top list or even Bobby Plays list. So yeah, it's kind of weird that, like, maybe it was like an honorable mention. I don't remember. There was a lot of weapons that they did talk about because at this point, the meta is pretty close with one another. I mean, I know that Ferg said that number one was the HVK. Of course, I think that got banned in competitive. But as for other weapons, I mean, they're so close to each other to the point where it's almost interchangeable, which with whatever weapons you can actually use within ranked or just in normal multiplayer, which can be a good thing. I mean, more variety is obviously better. You don't have to stay stuck using just a single weapon throughout an entire ranked series. But yeah, with the CX9, it does need to be discussed a little bit. So I have used it over time within this season, and I do have to say it is much more improved than before. The shots hit more consistently, the damage is a lot more consistent within the second range specifically. Now you could, well, because of the improved multiplier, now you could actually get a 5-shot kill rather than just be immediately at a 6-shot kill within that second range. The hipfire feels pretty great. As for the barrels, I would say that's probably the biggest plus for this season in terms of this gun's buff. It's, you know, the longest barrel wasn't the only barrel that could receive the 25% bullet speed. So now there are 2 other barrels that can do that. Specifically, the CX38 as well as the CX38S are the 2 barrels that can actually increase your bullet velocity now. This was something that wasn't present in, in Season 9. The only one that was able to was the CX38E. Not only that, like I said earlier, they did improve the bullet speed because I did say that it does hit a lot more consistently. It doesn't miss as often. And yeah, it went from 450 meters per second to 660 meters per second. And you could add that 25% with one of those barrels, and it will be further increased. Not only that, the extended mags, specifically the 30 round and the 50 round, did get buffed. With the 30 round, they just removed all of the movement penalties, and for the 50 round, they reduced it by half. So instead of having negative 4% movement speed with this thing, you're now going to get only 2%. And you would think with all these different changes, this weapon would actually be meta, but you'd be wrong. I mean, there's still a lot of other weapons out there that are still kind of like taking that top spot. Specifically right now, I think it's the HVK 30 where you could actually still use the large caliber mag. Of course, with ammo conversions, I think those are also banned as well in the, like, I guess the competitions, the competitive scene. But of course, when you're playing just normal ranked, you could obviously use them. There's no restriction towards those things, which honestly, I think it actually should be. I mean, if you look at the ranked series in like Modern Warfare 2 last year, yeah, they had a lot of different restrictions. I think you couldn't even use a suppressor, I think. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. I mean, my cousin does play a little bit of ranked, but, like, he's only showed me a small little portion of it. So, yeah. As for, the CX9, going back to that, I like, using it, like I said, it does feel very consistent, I would say. But still, I mean, it still has its shortcomings, and obviously rightly so, given the fact that, I mean, it is kind of like a fast-firing SMG. You can't really expect it to 4-shot from, like, any range. I think that'd just be too overpowered. The way that they balanced it out is fine. I don't really have a problem with it. I would say of all the fast-firing SMGs, I would say currently right now, this is probably the best one. I mean, with the Fennec, they have nerfed that thing so many times to the point where you have to use, like, a range of foregrip, a lot of stuff to keep the bullet spread accuracy tight. But when it comes to this one just remains fast overall. And if I'm correct, I think it does have better bullet speed than, the MAC-10 or just any other fast-firing weapon that does have bullet speed, or at least, in terms of the SMG category. The way that it was previously, I would say, was kind of unacceptable. in some ways. I mean, this thing, at first I thought it was good, and that was probably only because I was playing on shipment where, the bullet speed wouldn't have been too much of a factor. But when you go into like just regular matches, when you're in longer range maps, you really start to see the shortcomings of the weapon. And that's something that a lot of people couldn't really afford to, run along with, especially if you're like in ranked. So I could understand why it wasn't really that much of a great option. I actually started to feel a little bad for all the people that bought the Mythic skin because, when that skin first came out, the ADS bug was still a thing with this gun, meaning that it still pulled up really slowly until one of the mini updates that they released. And then not only that, I mean, the weapon still performed pretty poorly for the most part, so that was another thing. And I know there are a lot of purists out there, or I guess a lot of completionists out there that like to max out their mythics, and I felt bad since like it was kind of like shit for a season. I even feel more bad for all those people who had like a limited time and may have missed it within this season, because as you guys know, when it comes to mythic draws, they last a pretty long time. So you still have plenty of time. Let's say if you don't have the funds to pick up the mythic, you still have some extra time, like maybe an extra month to pick it up before it goes away, and then you have to wait again for like maybe a redux or the return of the draw. Do I regret getting it now? To be honest, not really. I mean, having all of those Halloween skins was far more worth it because it's like, 3 for the price of like basically 1, given the fact that the draw was super generous. But I don't really mind picking it up at a later time. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you leave a like. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. Have you guys been using the CX9 lately, whether it be ranked or, BR, or maybe even in just normal public lobbies? Let me know. And yeah, anyways, have a wonderful day.